Hello, I'm still not Corey, and I'm also still not a billionaire. Or a billionaire's son. But a billionaire's son is in the Jubilee video which we are about to watch. But first, please like this video, subscribe, and leave a comment letting me know what you would do if you were given £10,000 or the equivalent in your currency. I'm curious because I have no idea what I would do if I was given that amount of money. I do have some advice for you though. Even if you haven't been given £10,000, you could use some spare money to perhaps sign up to my Patreon. We are over halfway to making 2 bonus videos a month. Right now, you get 1 bonus video a month and a bunch of other stuff, but soon you can get 2 bonus videos a month once we reach 50 patrons. So go ahead and sign up and you could get 2 extra videos from me a month. Or you can check out my merch. We still have stupid baby t-shirts which you can get and a whole bunch of other subtle pride stuff. So go and check that out. Okay, let's start the video.
If you were alone in a room with the son of a billionaire, what would you ask?
Why?
What's your name?
I'm Bobby.
What does your dad do?
He started off in the music industry. He started basically the biggest like creative media college, teaching like music production, sound engineering, and now he has like a flight school as well, and like recording studios and real estate, obviously.
What industry are you in?
I'm a film director and a YouTuber. On YouTube, I make like sort of like short films about my life.
I love when people on YouTube describe what they do. Like he said, he makes short films about his life. They're vlogs. Just say you're a vlogger. It's okay to be a vlogger. Your dad's a billionaire, so you don't need to do anything with your life. You can do what you want, and you make vlogs. That's fine. You don't need to say, I'm a filmmaker that makes short films about my life. I mean, I guess I have to respect the hustle, right? Like, I'm a filmmaker then, because I've done vlogs for other people.
Craziest moment of my life is definitely when I was on tour with Designer, and we flew into Japan, and I take Adderall. So I was just prescribed that by the doctor, you know what I'm saying? I'm on tour, like I'm trying to be a productive citizen, I'm trying to work hard. And I came in there with that, and I didn't check before that it's like Class A substance there, like super illegal. And I went to jail for 2 months basically when we landed. I was sleeping on the floor, you get like—
Oh my God. You're in like a prison cell?
Yeah, it's like with like a couple other Japanese dudes.
Are you single?
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
no, I'm not.
Damn.
Actually, I was saying yes because you gave me the flowers, but no.
That's okay, I barely like guys anyway.
Honestly, I respect that girl so much, right? Like, yeah, just get in with his billionaire son, you know, get in with him, marry him, take some money, redistribute the wealth.
How does the amount of money you have affect how you interact with women?
I guess it's given me the ability to abuse my position, especially like, you know, with like going out and partying and the nightclub scene and stuff, where it's like, I could hook up with like models. And obviously that was like super cool when I was like 18 to like 21, and I was like thinking like, wow, this is everything. Like, I don't need a girl to like me and to be in a relationship with. Like, I just need like a girl who's gonna be like super hot and act as like, you know, an accessory. But as obviously I went through things in life, I started to realize that it's really nice to have a healthy relationship with someone that you actually, you know, love.
There's nothing wrong with what he said. It's just so funny. Like, oh man, I realized that maybe human connection is good. We're living on a different planet to this guy, really. Like, oh yeah, man, I used to think that, you know, maybe I just want a woman to be an accessory, you know, kind of like a handbag or a nice brooch. But then I realized that actually, women are pretty cool. And maybe if one of them is nice to me, that'd be nice too. So rich, I can just not think of women as people. Jesus.
Who's the most famous person that you've ever got with?
Lindsay Lohan. I was like, I met her at the Cannes Film Festival, and I ended up, you know, I passed out on her couch, and she woke me up.
On Lindsay Lohan's couch?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
It is weird to me that very, very rich people can just hang out with very, very famous people. Like, this guy doesn't need to do anything necessarily, because he could just pay his way into doing whatever. So the line between rich and famous just gets blurred, because you can buy your way into being famous, right? Like, we think of being famous as this thing that you achieve through hard work, right? That you achieve through being the best at what you do, generally. But nah, if your dad's a billionaire, then you can sleep on Lindsay Lohan's couch because daddy has money.
So I also wanted to ask what your relationship was like with your parents growing up.
My dad was like not around really. He was just building like this empire.
It's weird to me when people talk about someone building an empire, because an empire is a bad thing, right? Like, we speak about it in this positive context, but an empire is pretty unequivocally a bad thing. Yeah, my dad was going around and he was taking up businesses and he was exploiting people, and he was only doing this to make money. In fact, he was neglecting me, his son, so that he could go out and make as much money as possible. Like, that's so messed up. That's like the plot of so many movies from the 90s. Like, Dad, stop working so hard and come and visit your son. It's not surprising, but it is ridiculous that you are a billionaire and you can't spend time with your family. Like, that is mad. Honestly, does money matter so much that you'll just leave your son while he's growing up and not hang out with him? Fucking hell.
Traveling around the world, like I never just would see him like once a year. That kind of made him like this mysterious like icon in my life. Like this guy who was like traveling around the world and like just making it happen, you know what I'm saying?
That's exactly what I want from a father. A mysterious guy who I only see once a year. Are you talking about Santa Claus? Is it Father Christmas? Like, really, the only father that should fit that description is Father Christmas. Otherwise, like, again, maybe stop building an empire, maybe stop exploiting people to get more money than you could ever need, and spend some time with your son.
But then my mom was like really like the one that, you know, raised me, taught me everything I know about compassion and love and being kind and fair.
Based on the rest of this video, his mum did a terrible, terrible job. I mean, he literally said from the ages of 18 to 21, he literally just wanted a woman as an accessory. So, like, what was his mum teaching him that he thought, yes, compassion, love, also women can be accessories and I don't need them to love me. She taught me so much.
Do you think that people discredit your talent and hard work because of you and your family's money?
Every single day of my career as a filmmaker, I think the way I make my success my own is like with my creativity and my talent, rather than focusing on, you know, trying to make a bunch of money, because I feel like my dad already did that.
See, this is the thing, right? You could say, people disregard me because my dad has money. Sure, but you don't understand this, right? There are people who are just as creative and just as talented as you, if not more creative and more talented. And they don't get to make the films that you make because their dads are not billionaires, right? You have the luxury of saying, I want to focus on my creativity and my talent and not on the money. You have the luxury of saying that because you don't need money to survive, because you have an unlimited supply of money just coming from your dad at all times. You never, ever need to worry about being homeless. You never need to worry about how much you've got to eat. You don't need to worry about literally anything. You are set for your entire life. So of course you can go off and make films and be creative and do whatever you want and not worry about money, because money is just not a thing to you, right? Money, for most people, is a barrier between them and the things that not just they want, the things that they need to survive. Money is not a barrier for you. You do not have those barriers in your life. Sure, you might have other barriers. You might have, you know, like you said, you need Adderall to function normally. So that's one barrier you've got. But every other person on this planet, more or less, has got this massive barrier of just money. They can't do what they want because of money. Money has to factor into their decisions of whether or not they do something. And it factors into their decisions not just of whether or not, oh, should I get this meal or that meal? Should I go to this place or that place? Can I go on holiday or not? It's not just things like that. It's like, what career option can I take? Do I have enough money to get through this? Like, yes, you can get loans for university, but can you actually afford to live while you're at university? You can get maintenance loans while you're there, but people still need to work while they're at uni as well. This is what winds me up when a billionaire's son says, people discredit my hard work because my dad has money. You do not understand. Yes, you can work hard. You can work as hard as you want. But the thing is that even if you didn't work hard, you could still succeed. Pretty much everyone else on this planet needs to work so much harder than you to get even the fraction of the success that you have achieved. If you sit there and think that your success is based solely on your creativity and talent, then you are delusional, my guy. It is not that. You are where you are because your dad is a billionaire. You could be talented, you could be hardworking, but I know tons of talented and hardworking people that aren't where you are, and the main difference I can see between them is that your dad is a billionaire and theirs aren't. Leave it to people with money to feel hard done by because people disregard their talent. Dude, you don't need to care what people think, because ultimately, you can do whatever you want. You could release the crappiest movies, and your dad could buy up theaters. You could be one of the most successful film directors of all time and be terrible. Like, it doesn't matter whether you're good or not. Stop whining. You have all of your needs met, my guy. He says he makes his success his own by focusing on creativity and talent, but like, your success isn't just your own. You can't extricate your success from your father's success because your father has funded your entire life. You cannot just disregard your starting conditions and act as though your success is purely born from your creativity and talent. As I've said many times before, you can be a hard worker, you could be incredibly talented, you could be all of these things, but your dad being a billionaire factors into every single one of them. Your upbringing, you have the money to have a good education. You don't have to worry about working a job when you're younger and distracting yourself from your main focus. You can be singularly focused on the thing that you want to do and spend more time working on it because you are able to. Someone else that's equally as hardworking as you might have to split their time between working 2 other jobs just to be able to afford to eat whilst also trying to be a filmmaker. You have so much goddamn privilege. It just gets my goat that people that obscenely, disgustingly wealthy feel hard done by because people discredit their hard work. People aren't trying to outright discredit your hard work. What they are doing is saying you can work as hard as you want, and someone else with way less money than you can work equally hard, if not harder, and still not achieve as much as you. If you genuinely think that that's discrediting your hard work, then you need to think long and hard about it. Because what does that mean for everyone else who doesn't have as much money and is not as successful as you, huh?
What is your daily routine?
You know, it's very varied for me. Sometimes like I'll have something that I'm working towards, like one project, and it'll be like a full day of like working really hard and like doing a whole bunch of stuff. Other than that, I'm just editing. What's your daily routine like?
I'm homeschooled. I go to soccer practice, but for me, like, I'm kind of like low income, so I usually take the bus. It takes me like 2 hours.
2 hours?
Yeah.
And these people are so detached from reality. Like, a 2-hour journey is a long one, absolutely. Probably especially in America where public transport isn't great and cities aren't set up for walking. But this guy's probably never had to take a bus in his life. The closest he's had to being a normal person is probably when he was chucked in jail in Japan. Like, seriously, these people live on a different planet from us. The way you live your life is alien to people with that amount of money because so much of our lives is dictated by how much we have in our bank account. And if you have essentially an unlimited amount in your bank account, you're playing a different game. Let's think about it this way. If you're playing a game that focuses heavily on inventory management and suddenly you are given a cheat that gives you nearly unlimited amounts of every single thing that you might need, you're not playing the same game anymore, right? You're playing a completely different game. It's the same thing with billionaires and people with that extreme amount of wealth. They are just living a different life to everyone else. It's almost not even remotely similar.
How do you feel when you see like a poor person on the street?
I've experienced that. I did a show where I was homeless for 3 nights. The people that I knew that I met on the show.
But he didn't experience that though, did he? He did a TV show for 3 days. That's like me saying, oh yeah, I know exactly what it's like to be stranded on a desert island because I went ahead and camped out for 3 days. No, it's not the same thing. The main point here being that you had the choice to go back to your cushy mansion whenever you wanted. You had the choice to buy food if you were hungry. You could still get out of that situation if you wanted. There are people who are stuck in that situation, who are stuck being homeless, who don't have a home to go back to, who don't have parents that care about them, that can give them money, no one to support them. People are stuck in that situation, and you LARPed it. You cosplayed for 3 days. You do not know that experience. You do not even begin to understand. I camped outside for a night to raise money for ACT when I was in uni, but I don't go around saying, oh yeah, I know what it's like to be homeless. I was homeless for a night, because I always had that option to walk back to my house and sleep in my bed. I could have had heating, I could have had food if I wanted. I had the choice. People who are homeless, more often than not, do not have the choice, or they are put in a position where they don't feel like they have the choice. Oh, I don't know, because they're LGBT and their family have kicked them out, or because they're addicted to drugs and they don't have a support system, or because they're disabled and they can't work. There are so many reasons that one might be homeless, and if you think that people genuinely choose to be homeless over a better option, then you are honestly just unhinged, my guy. You are so out of touch. People won't choose to be homeless if they have a better option. If you genuinely think that you understand that experience from a TV show that you did over 3 nights, like, dude, seriously, what is wrong with you?
For 3 nights. The people that I knew that I met on the show, they kind of wanted to stay there because they could make 60 pounds in a day. So for them, they were like, why would I go and work when I can just sit here and put my head down and cross my legs and get 60 pounds? They're gonna go buy weed, alcohol, and they were like, bro, they had more food than they needed.
They had more food than they needed. Much like this guy has more than he needs of literally everything. Seriously, what is the difference between these homeless people that he met that sit outside for 60 pounds a day and this guy who just gets money from his dad for doing nothing? Like, what is the difference? He doesn't work to get money from his dad at all. So why is he looking down on these homeless people for not working? Like, oh, they go and spend it on weed, they go and spend it on alcohol. If they're given money, they can spend it on whatever they like. I don't think you should look down on them, especially when you speak about blowing so much money in your life. Like, it's honestly ridiculous the way that these people see other people as so different from them. And let's be serious here. If people are choosing to be homeless because they can earn less than £22,000 a year doing that, do you not think there's maybe a problem with the system such that it is more beneficial to be homeless than it is to have a job, right? Like, that is a problem in the system, not a problem with these people who are choosing the option that is, like, probably best for themselves, especially coming from a guy who has literally never had to struggle or think about money in his life. Like, he's never had to work for a single thing ever. He never has had to worry about money. So the fact that he thinks he can pass judgment on these people is ridiculous. And again, I know I said it already, but the more food than they needed is so weird. It's like this idea that people have of homeless people where they should only have the bare minimum they need to survive. And not just homeless people, like poor people. Poor people shouldn't have more than they need to survive. It's the same kind of mindset that you see when people are like, oh, that poor person has an iPhone. They can't be that poor.
Don't you feel like you could do like a little bit more because you have that money?
When I see poor people, like, sure, like maybe I want to help them, but like how?
How? Give them your money. Give it away. That would help them a lot. I want to help poor people, but how? Ask poor people, speak to them, see what would help. I don't know, man. Maybe don't just like spend your life making, honestly, kind of subpar YouTube videos about how awesome it is to be a billionaire's son. Like, Jesus. It's so funny the way that he's clearly convinced himself that not helping out in any way is totally fine. Oh, well, homeless people actually choose to be homeless, and they're better off being homeless than they are if they have money. So there's no point in giving money to them. And, you know, how do I even help poor people? I don't know. Seriously though, man, if you're a billionaire's son and you spend your entire life making films, maybe you could set just some time aside to figure out how you can actually help poor people, right? I'm sure it won't be actually that hard if you just listen. Seems like you're kind of burying your head in the sand so you don't have to do anything.
The world isn't a fair place. Like, I don't have time to spend my entire day going around like looking after homeless people. That's not who I am.
You literally do have time to spend your entire day doing that. You say it's not who you are, but you do have the time to do that. The world is an unfair place, and you are not helping make it any more fair. What you are doing is spending your life making these films, these self-aggrandizing things, where you just do a vlog and call it a film. Man, you could actually be helping people with your money and your time, but instead you're using it to fuel your ego. Like, seriously, if you're a billionaire's son and your entire thing is about being a billionaire's son, like, seriously, what are your creative exploits? Like, who are you helping here? What are these billionaire sons videos actually good for? They are just you saying, look how cool it is to live my life. Also, I don't have the time to help poor people, to help homeless people, because I don't want to. That's what you mean when you say that's not who I am. You don't want to. I would have way more respect for you if you just came out and said, I don't want to help poor people because I prefer living my life the way I live my life. The world is an unfair place, and you are one of the people that is making it that.
I'm focused on like building stuff and helping people that want to change their lives and they want to do something positive for the community.
Ah, yes, so being homeless means that you don't want to do something positive for the community. It means you don't want to change your life. There's not a homeless person around who wants to change their lives or do something positive. You camped outside for 3 days, met some people that you thought, they want to be homeless, and you just added that into your little worldview so that you don't need to give a shit about homeless people. I'd like to think that most people, when confronted with homelessness upfront and personal like that, would come away from it thinking, oh wow, we need to do better to help these people. But you came away from it thinking, these people are fine, I need to do all. That is honestly unhinged. I feel like after a certain point, having a certain amount of money makes you just crazy, because you live on a different planet to everyone else. So of course you're gonna seem crazy to us normal people, to us people that have a regular amount of money, because you're living on a different planet. You have a completely different world. You have a completely different set of values for that world. Honestly, people that are that wealthy just live such a different life that they're basically mad by our standards.
Do you think that billionaires should exist?
Yeah, I think it's great.
I mean, he's a billionaire's son and he's benefiting from it. Whatever he says, I'm pretty sure it's going to come down to, I like being a billionaire's son, so yeah, billionaires should exist.
Because there's a reason that people become billionaires. It's not like you're a billionaire now. You know what I mean? Like, they take it. And the reason that they are where they are is because they're people that worked extremely hard and they've done something exceptional for the world.
Ah, so they take it from other people, and so they deserve it. This logic is so easy to poke holes into. Billionaires should exist because there's a reason they're billionaires. I mean, you're not a billionaire. Billionaires take it. Honestly, I feel like he needs to. He genuinely needs to convince himself that the only reason one could be a billionaire is because they deserve it through their hard work. Honestly, when you sit down and do the maths, I don't think anyone deserves £1 billion or $1 billion or anything because it's such an astronomically high amount of money. It's so much money, and I don't think people realize that. £1 billion or $1 billion is so much more than a million. Like, a millionaire? Sure, fine. That is probably fine. But a billionaire is obscene. You genuinely need to exploit people horrifically to become a billionaire. There is basically no other way. Exploitation is necessary. Billionaires should not exist. Distribute that wealth amongst everyone. If people are billionaires and they're literally homeless people, then something is f***ing wrong. I don't think a billionaire works so much harder than someone that is earning minimum wage such that they should be a billionaire, and the person on minimum wage is barely able to f***ing survive.
As you said, that's great and that they take. So I don't know about how great it is that they take something.
Based. True.
It's there. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the system that we've created to you know, make society and make things work.
When he says it's there, that's the system, we can change that system, but he has no incentive to do that because he's benefiting so much from it. Even though he's seen up close and personal the inequality in that system, the absolute stratification of the highest classes and the lowest classes. He can see that, and still it doesn't matter to him because his life is so good that he benefits so much from this system that he doesn't want to change it. Who cares if the system is broken? Who cares if people are starving on the f***ing streets? I am living a good life, therefore we shouldn't change this system. In fact, I'll act as though the system is just set. We can't change the system. That is what you have to do. You have to convince yourself that this system is unchanging. That the fact that we have built this system means that it is inherently fair, or it's how it should be. Just because otherwise you have to confront the fact that you are a bad person if you think this system should stay the same so that you can live a great life whilst so many other people suffer.
But do you think that system is exploited usually by these people?
Yeah, I think if you want to get to a certain level, you do have to exploit the system in a certain way. You can't just play completely fair because otherwise you're not going to get there.
He has literally just said that he thinks that billionaires should exist because they take it. And then he's gone on to say that they exploit people. They don't play fair. So he is admitting that billionaires are billionaires because they do not play fair. You can't be a billionaire unless you exploit people and don't play fair. So realistically, in a fair world, billionaires should not exist. But he doesn't care that it's unfair. That doesn't matter to him because he is benefiting from it. Like, he is genuinely, like, he is just showing his whole ass here. I don't give a shit about poor people because I am a billionaire's son. That is effectively what he is saying. I'd really rather he just came out and said that rather than trying to do these little mental gymnastics to convince himself that he's a good person so he could sleep at night on his bed of money.
There's a lot of billionaires who do a lot of great things and they employ thousands of people and they're really good bosses.
Ah yes, billionaires can do a lot of good things and they can be really good bosses. It's not as though the richest men on the planet are notoriously terrible fucking bosses. Jeff Bezos, yes, I'm sure Amazon workers think that Jeff Bezos is a great boss. The people that work for Tesla and all of Elon Musk's companies, I'm sure they think he's an absolute star. The guy who went and bought part of Twitter instead of even trying to help world hunger, which he was tweeting about a few months ago. Billionaires are honestly evil. I will go out on a limb and say they are pretty much all evil. Billionaires shouldn't exist. And you know what? You could say that they're giving people jobs and they're doing that, but actually, if you think about it, the workers could own that company and give themselves jobs, couldn't they? The billionaire is basically useless here. All they do is cheat and lie to get more and more money so they have more and more power so that they can exploit more and more people. That is what being a billionaire is, and he benefits from it, so he doesn't care.
You know, especially when you see people that have built it up ground up like Elon Musk, or like there's so many that are self-made. It gives people, I feel like, the ambition and they feel like they can do it.
Elon Musk was not self-made.
Oh, okay.
Man, he doesn't know! He doesn't know! Oh, okay. He has no idea about any of the things that he's saying. He just says it to make himself feel better. Do you see that? Do you see that he actually has no clue what he's talking about? All it takes is for someone to say, you're wrong about that, and he's like, oh. No, he doesn't have any evidence to back him up, and you know he doesn't have any evidence because he would have brought it up there and then. He just tells himself, yeah, people are self-made. It's really cool to see them build it up from nothing. It's pretty clear that he doesn't think too deeply about this stuff. He just takes whatever will allow him to live his life guilt-free. He has managed to do these mental gymnastics, these Olympic-level gymnastics in his head to convince himself that being the son of a billionaire and spending that wealth on frivolous things is fine. It's not fine. At your core, man, I'm sure you know that. You're convincing yourself that it is just so you don't need to feel bad about it. Here's a better way to do this. Either feel bad about it or come up with better bloody arguments, man.
How do you tip?
I think here it's like very much so like this big tipping culture. And a lot of the time I'm like for Uber Eats, like I'm not tipping, I'm sorry. I know they're getting paid to be an Uber Eats driver, and it's like taxes, fees, delivery fee, surcharge on the food. It's like, bro, I'm not made of money.
Imagine, right, you could honestly make an Uber Eats driver's day by tipping like a $5 or $5. Are you telling me that every single time you order Uber Eats you can't add on an extra $5 without bankrupting yourself? Dude, you are as close to being made of money as someone can be. You are the son of a billionaire. You could probably give away $5 every single time you order Deliveroo or Uber Eats or any of those things and not make a dent in your father's wealth. Honestly, it is just selfishness. The smug air he's got sitting there being like, I don't tip. Like, if you don't tip because you can't afford it, that is one thing. But there are people who earn far, far less than you that tip. So what is your excuse, man? It's selfishness. Because to be a billionaire's son, to be that level of wealthy, you need to be inherently selfish. You need to convince yourself, well, oh, they're being paid by Uber Eats, despite the fact that they are being paid so goddamn little. You could make such a difference just by giving a little bit extra. Giving away that wealth, sharing it with people who do want to make a difference, people who do want to change their lives. Isn't that what you want to do? You want to help people that wanted to help themselves? Surely someone that has a job that is working at Uber Eats like that is helping themselves. They want to have a good life. So why not give them money then and there? Why not do that to make a difference? Because you don't give a shit about making a difference. You just care about living your life. Otherwise, you'd tip. Jesus Christ, how can you be so goddamn selfish? I have seen people with, like, I would say not even half the amount of money that he has, but honestly, not even a fraction of the money that he has tip incredibly well. He is so selfish, and he just convinces himself that it's all okay. This is infuriating.
Like, just like very briefly, I did try working for like Postmates. It's just like a one-time trip just to see how it was, and they pay really, really low. Like, it wouldn't even make like minimum wage for like...
Right.
You could try, I would suggest you could try doing an Uber Eats just to see what it feels like.
Try doing an Uber Eats just to see what it feels like. That wouldn't change him though, because he always has the option of going back to his normal life. This is what people don't understand. When a rich person cosplays as poor for fun or to learn something, they never truly understand the experience because they always have the safety net of going back to their own life. When you genuinely have no money in your bank account, if you've got 3 pence in your bank account and you know that there's no safety net, that is an awful, awful place to be in. You'll never replicate that feeling if you're a billionaire's son because you always have daddy to run back to give you more money. And you always have that wealth that you have. That comes with inherent power. Honestly, the fact is, he could have found out what the wages were for Postmates if he just Googled it. He could have figured out how much people are making, but he doesn't. He doesn't even bother trying. He just says to himself, they're being paid, I don't need to tip them. It doesn't matter how little they're being paid to him. It doesn't matter at all because none of this is about actually having values that are, supported by facts or even necessarily all that consistent. All this is about for him, all this is about is convincing himself that his life is not morally wrong. Despite the fact that when you look at the facts and the numbers, it does seem to be pretty morally reprehensible.
Hero or villain?
Villain for sure.
Why?
I feel like their life is generally cooler and they don't have to accommodate for as many people. They sort of just look after themselves and like have a lit time and like the Joker, like, bro, having a fantastic time.
Yeah.
He's just having fun.
Man, this guy already is a villain. He genuinely has tried to say earlier that he wants to help people that want to make a difference, that want to make a change, that want to put the work into it. But here he's saying he'd rather be a villain because they don't need to care about anyone. They just get to have a good time. Dude, that's you already. That is you already. You don't need to care about anyone. And from the sounds of this video, it doesn't seem like you do give a shit about anyone. You only look out for yourself. You've convinced yourself that you can not tip, and that's okay, despite the fact that tipping really would not make a dent in you. Or how about this, right? You just order Postmates and Uber Eats just a little bit less and then tip the difference. And then you're not breaking the bank. I'm sure you could get by doing that. But no, you would rather be the villain. Man, at least you know you're the villain, but it just seems as though you don't realize that being the villain is pretty bad. There's a reason that those characteristics are associated with villains. It's because generally we find them to be morally repugnant and not very good for society. So if you're finding yourself in the position of being like, I'd really like to be a villain, and then you start describing your actual life, maybe take a step back and realize you should probably change a little bit about who you are.
I'm saying everyone else is panicking, like, oh my God, save the world, and he's just like laughing, so.
Oh my God, yes, this is what billionaires do, man. They could make changes, they could help save the world, but they just want to have a good time. They want to spend their money on themselves. Could I help hunger in the US, or should I buy a little bit of Twitter? Well, if I was Elon Musk, I know what I would do. Should I tip these people so their lives are a little bit better? Should I give money to the homeless? Or maybe I should set up my own charity that helps homeless people or other people that want to make changes in their lives. Or, hear me out, what I could do is just make films and do YouTube. That would be fun, wouldn't it? Yay! Seriously, man, you are already the villain. That is a bad thing. I can't believe I am having to say that being a villain is a bad thing, but being a villain, it is the bad thing. You should not want to be the villain. If you look at the Joker and think, oh boy, I would like to be him, you have made a grave mistake.
Would you consider yourself you're the villain in your own life?
Yeah, I'd say I consider myself a villain. But it's like a necessary evil in life.
I mean, at least he's self-aware, although, like, I'm a villain, but it's necessary evil. Like, you know, people say, oh, the best villains always think they're the hero. This guy is like a really poorly written villain. Like, really, really poorly written. Oh my Lord, I cannot believe the things that are coming out of his mouth.
Because without it, then there isn't the good guys. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like there's a balance of that.
Man, okay, this reminds me of a time when I had a conversation with someone in my YouTube comments because they were a fan of this creator who was blatantly lying and being transphobic. And we went back and forth, and I was bringing up evidence, I was pointing things out, and at the very end, they said, well, you know what, yes, actually, this person was spreading misinformation. You've made that very clear. But maybe it's a good thing that they were spreading misinformation, because without misinformation, it would make us less discerning of the real information. Because when people post misinformation, it makes us look out harder to make sure things are true. They genuinely do these little mental gymnastics to make themselves believe that it's okay to do bad things. This guy is saying that him being a terrible, terrible person makes good people exist. My guy, be one of the good people. For the love of God, use your wealth. Use this extreme privilege that you have been granted just by virtue of being born to the right person. Use that to help people. I honestly have to think that he is just saying this stuff for outrage. He is just saying this stuff so people make videos like this one and send more views to his YouTube channel. But I implore you, do not look up this guy outside this video. You will be disappointed. The videos are genuinely not even worth it. I don't think they're very good. I think you should finish watching this video and then let him fade out of your mind, because honestly, he is not worth it.
Is this you?
Yeah.
So what do you think about that mask? What does it mean to you versus like obviously what it means to other people and how it doesn't really represent the class that you're in?
Yeah, I know it's like anonymous, the thing, but I just see it as like a mask, and that I can like do something where it's not me.
What he's doing here is he's trying to explain why he co-opts a mask that is kind of antithetical to how he seems to live his life. And ultimately, what he is doing is seeing, oh, this is cool, I'm gonna use it because it looks cool. He doesn't give a shit about anything, he just cares about looking cool.
So why that mask versus like a Scooby-Doo mask, or what
it's
is
just the
that
most
mask
readily
about?
available mask.
Okay.
It might be the most readily available mask, but you could also get literally any other mask. It's not like you're stuck looking for the first mask that you find. If you see a mask that has a specific meaning behind it, maybe go for another mask that doesn't have that meaning if the only thing you're looking to do is hide your identity, especially when the meaning is seemingly antithetical to how you live your life. And I have to give some more praise to this guy who is genuinely putting pressure on him for his terrible answers. Good job.
I literally just like, you go anywhere and you can buy those.
I mean, it all seems kind of non-specific because that mask has like meaning to it, though, is what I'm saying.
I'm on like the people's side at the same time as like, have like this big situation, like my father's super wealthy and everything. But for me, it's like, I feel like I'm on the side of the people, you know what I'm saying? And then that's like my ultimate goal is to help out, you know, the people that I feel deserve it.
Ah, the people he feels deserve it. But the people that don't deserve it are homeless people because they want to be homeless, people that work for Uber Eats and stuff because they earn enough money. Who does he actually want to help? Who does he actually think deserves it? Because what it seems like here is that he's convincing himself that he's a man of the people, that he cares about others, when his actions, as he's described them, do not seem to show that. Like, I genuinely think, I can't help but think that he must just be being so hypocritical here, so, like, contradictory, just to make people mad. Like, I have to assume that he's doing this consciously, because it is so hard for me to believe that someone can be this naive, this short-sighted, this blind to themselves.
What have you done that has been, like, the most impactful for you or, like, the world?
I think inspiring people through my videos. I get so many messages saying like how I've inspired them and how I've like showed people how to make videos in a certain way.
Can I just point out that the videos that have come up on screen, as you can see, have 101,000 views, 139,000 views, 13,000 views, and the other one doesn't actually show it. But these videos that they're showing here are £1 Million Wardrobe, Born Rich, Bobby Misner, which I've watched, terrible video. Life of the 0.1%, Real Day in the Life of a Billionaire's Son, and you know, big up to Jubilee for embarrassing this guy like this, because he is not actually doing anything to help people. Oh, you've inspired me. Inspired them to what? Be a billionaire's son? Oh yes, I'll just go back to before I was born and make sure my parents are fucking loaded. You are not inspiring anyone to do anything that they couldn't already do themselves. Use your wealth for something positive. Like, I don't even sit here and say that what I'm doing is inspiring people because I know how bullshit that actually is. Like, and I actually try to do things that are helpful to people. I have a fucking science podcast, man. Like, what do you do other than make videos that are just bigging up your life and how cool it is and how much fun you have? You're not doing anything to help people. Like, oh my God. You are living on a different planet. You are not making the impact that you think you are making. What you're doing is making excuses for yourself to be not that great of a person.
I feel like I help out a lot of young filmmakers and photographers and stuff to get into the game. I'll like bring up people that wouldn't normally be given the opportunity.
I don't know, man. Like, good. It's good that he's helping people on that sort of one-to-one basis, but the amount of good that he can do, he is severely limiting it. The fact that he won't even tip people because he doesn't think they deserve it is really telling, right? Like, I think it's very, very interesting that he says he'll help up-and-coming sort of young filmmakers, but like, I'd be curious to actually look into it and see how much he does, because based on the level of wealth that he has, the amount of power that he has, the fact that he chooses not even to tip people, it just makes me feel like the actual good that he's doing is not gonna be that great.
With charities, I've always seen it as like this, like you give money to a charity and then what, it just disappears.
Yeah,
that's fair. I mean, like, charities aren't necessarily the best. In fact, in a fully functional society, charities wouldn't really exist. But that doesn't mean that, you know, that you don't do anything, or rather, that doesn't mean that you only do this one thing that you're doing. It's interesting to me, though. He says he doesn't tip Uber Eats delivery drivers, but he does help people in his industry. It's almost as though he only wants to help people when he can feel good about it. He doesn't feel good about tipping, so he doesn't do it, because those people don't deserve it. But the people that he chooses, the people that he deems acceptable to help, they deserve his help. The ones that can give him the praise for helping them. Like, man, it is so selfish. Like, I can't imagine a more selfish way to help other people.
What I like is like you personally doing something to someone and then you see their
Results
actual reaction
immediately.
and the results of what happens now.
So he doesn't like helping. He likes being able to feel good about helping. Like, he's literally just said it. He likes being able to see the reaction. And be honest, that is great. It is a great feeling to know that you've helped someone. But when you have money, that amount of money, you can help people impersonally. You can help people that you never even meet. And he chooses not to do that because it doesn't make him feel good. Like, selfish. No other word for it. Selfish.
Do you ever worry about losing your wealth?
Yeah, money when I was, I guess, like 16 to like 21, I just wanted to spend anything as much as I could.
To flex or like for
yeah,
fun?
to flex. You know, you'd end up spending everything on something expensive and then have absolutely no money at all. And be living breadline until you got your allowance the next month.
He says living breadline. I mean, I assume he had his rent paid for. Like, so what he's saying is that he blew all of his money and that he had to budget the rest of it because he chose not to budget it. But he never had the worry of not being able to eat at all or becoming homeless. He never had any of those worries. Like, it's so disgusting to me when people that wealthy say they were living breadline or use the language that we use to actually refer to poor and working class people, because you're just LARPing, you're cosplaying, you're dressing up, you're pretending to have the same experience as a poor person that you will never ever be able to understand, because you have a constant safety net for the entirety of your life. You will always be safe. You blow your allowance and you have to live breadline for the rest of the month until you get more allowance. Do you know what you could do since you're getting your allowance for doing literally nothing? You could go out and get a job and you'd be fine. Honestly, I feel like breadline for him as well is way higher than the average person, right? Like, he'll probably think breadline is a much better quality of life than someone who is actually living on the poverty line, who is actually struggling to make ends meet, who is literally living from paycheck to paycheck. Not living from paycheck to paycheck in the sense that they get an allowance every month and blow through it because they can. Like, this guy does not fully understand consequences, it seems. The consequences of spending money. Like, because ultimately, if he spends too much money, just go live with daddy. Like, it's so frustrating.
That was what it was like for me.
Allowance.
Yeah.
How much was your allowance?
It's like $2,000 a month.
Interestingly, $2,000 a month, the average income for the US is about $31,000 a month off the top of my head. If you take tax off of that, again, off the top of my head, you roughly get the same amount that he was being given in allowance. He was given the average US median income after tax as an allowance, something that people literally have to work full time for. He was just given as a baseline. He lives on a different planet to you and me and everyone else who doesn't have a rich daddy. He has never ever had to work. He could have lived a perfectly comfortable and happy life based entirely on his allowance, but he doesn't. Oh my god. And if you think the allowance is the only money that his dad gave him, no.
My dad's always said, like, you know, that's all you get.
That's all you get.
Just if I have like an idea that is gonna make money, then he'll give me money for that.
So you get the average US income. That's all you get. All you get is the average of what people in this country make. And then also, if you have an idea, then I'll give you money for that too. If you have another idea that you want to spend money on, you don't have to save the money that I'm giving you as an allowance. You don't have to get a job so that you can work up and save the money yourself. No, I'll just give you some more money, but only if you have an idea. I'm your dad and I've always valued hard work. That's why I will give you money if you come to me with an idea on top of the $24,000 a year that I am giving you for doing absolutely nothing.
He doesn't like to just, he's not like other parents where he'll just give me money because like, oh, I want to go on holiday.
He is like other parents though. He is like other parents because I'll tell you what, on $24,000 a year with no tax, you can actually go on holiday. You can do that. Maybe not the holidays that you're used to, but you can absolutely live a comfortable life and go on holiday. You could live an average life on that amount of money. The fact is that he's thinking that his dad is being, not stingy, but his dad is being conservative with the amount of money that he's giving him. And relatively speaking, yes, giving your son only $24,000 a year and then some money on top of that whenever he has a good idea and not giving him money for whatever holiday he wants to go on is probably conservative when your dad is a billionaire. But what he doesn't understand is he's speaking to people whose dads aren't billionaires. He's speaking to people who live normal lives, and it just sounds fucking insane to be living a normal life and have a guy come in and tell you, oh yeah, what you work 40 hours a week for, I get for doing nothing. And also, if I want more money because I want to make money off of an idea, then my dad will just give it to me. Forget going to a bank for a loan. Forget trying to go to my friends and family to help them. Forget a Kickstarter. No. My dad will just give me money if I have an idea. You do not understand normal people at all. You live on a different planet. Like, Jesus Christ. That is so unhinged. He genuinely thinks that his dad is being somewhat conservative with the money that he gives him. Oh my God.
You know, my dad, he's much older now. One of the big things on my mind is making sure that I'm going to be the man for my family when my dad is gone, because I'm one of the only son, so.
Yeah.
You know when people say, I need to be the man of the family, I never understood what that meant. People would always say, oh, you're the man of the house. What? I am male, and I am in my family, and I live here. Is it this sort of gendered idea that the man is the leader and whatnot? Like, anyone can be a bloody leader of a family, my guy. You don't just step up into being the man. Like, that just doesn't make any sense to me. Kind of unrelated to the overarching point of the video, but I thought I'd put it in there. Being the man of the family is just odd. It's just an odd thing to say.
What would you say is the hardest part of your life?
Living up to my dad. I like always have been in like that shadow. And like everyone's always sort of told me like, you'll never be as good as him, or you never do what he did.
Sure, that sucks, you know, sucks, but also relatively speaking, it is hard to feel much sympathy for this guy when people say you won't live up to your billionaire dad. Well, your dad's a billionaire. There's only a certain number of billionaires in the world, and ultimately, if you do become a billionaire, it'll probably be because of your dad anyway. You have everything in your life that you could ever want. You can just get it. You don't have the barriers that normal people have. It's hard for me to feel sympathy for someone that feels like they're not living up to their dad when they have every other need met, and they also have no idea how normal people live. That makes it hard to feel sympathy for you, because you're feeling sorry for yourself and not living up to your dad, whilst also completely being detached from the world around you. If anything, I'd almost feel sorry for you at being so detached from the rest of humanity. But then again, you can just have every single need met, so it's not that easy to feel bad for you.
I just wanted to be proud of me, so like what I wanted to do was do something solely creative, which was, you know, being a film director and a YouTuber. I feel like that's how I want to make him proud.
Boring. I'm sorry, boring. Like,
My dad's actually a billionaire as well.
Wow, yeah.
So we're actually in the same boat here.
That's lit.
Yeah, it is lit. So I kind of get everything you're coming from.
There you go, I was waiting for this. I knew you guys are going to pull this out the hat.
Yeah.
Sorry, but that laugh is like, that's like the Tommy Wiseau laugh from The Room.
Are you in college right now?
No, I don't even go to school. I just kind of living life, doing YouTube, traveling, having fun.
When you think about it, it kind of sounds weird that being a billionaire's son means that you wouldn't go to school, but in our society, you only get education so that you could be more hireable, so that you could get a job, so that you could make money, so that you could survive. And if you already have the money, then you don't need to do any of the other stuff. You don't need to get a job if you have money. You don't need to learn things to get a job if you have money. You can just go around your life and have fun. Like, I mean, I'm not saying that's what I would do, right? I find learning fun. I would want to learn. But this guy can just travel and be a YouTuber, but not be a YouTuber in the sense of, you know, like working really hard. He could literally half-ass being a YouTuber if he wanted. He could hire people to film it for him. He could hire people to edit it for him. He could hire people to upload it for him and moderate his comments, because he just has money. And that money doesn't come from the YouTube that he's worked on for years and years and years. That money could just come from his dad. This is my point. These people are not the same as everyone else. They are genuinely just living on another planet, and I've said it so many times because I can't think of another way to describe it. They are just not like us, because having that level of wealth just makes you so detached from the rest of the world. It is so shocking to see, and they don't even really know it. They don't seem to understand that they don't understand everyone else. Like, yes, they know that poor people are different from them. They see them as being different. Like, they understand class in the sense that people of different classes are different from them. But what they don't understand is that they just do not get how the world actually works for everyone else on this planet. Like, they don't understand it. They think they do, but they fucking don't.
Well, it's lit. We should make some videos together.
Yeah, I'm
right?
down.
Hey Bobby, seeing as you're older, age, do you have any advice for him?
If like your dad gives you a bunch of money, don't blow it on stupid shit.
Oh yeah.
Invest
sure.
it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I wish I fucking like with my trust fund had bought Bitcoin or something.
I wish that I'd used my extreme wealth to become even more disgustingly wealthy. My advice to you as the son of a billionaire is not to frivolously spend, but instead invest so that you can, through no work of your own whatsoever, become even more wealthy. I am saying this to you as someone who thinks the only people that deserve help are those that want to help themselves, that those that want to work hard to make a difference. That doesn't apply to you and me, of course. We're sons of billionaires. It is our birthright to get something for nothing, and then take that something and make it an even bigger something through absolutely no work of our own. That is fair, and that is how the world should work. This guy is fucking unhinged.
At least some of it invested.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
What'd you blow all that money on?
Fucking nothing. Like, bro, literally like 30K a month on Amex. Like staying at the Beverly Hills Hotel for 2 weeks in a row. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Paying for all my friends. Like,
Right.
like booking like a first class flight and then like instead of changing it, just missing it and booking another one.
Man, imagine having the money to book a first class flight and then skip it. Just miss it and book another one instead of rescheduling. Imagine having the money to do that, but not having the money to tip your fucking delivery drivers. This guy is disgusting.
Yeah, but I feel like everyone needs that experience to, you know, you get a bunch of money and then you lose it all and then you learn.
Man, I almost feel sorry for these guys because they are the absolute stereotypes of kids of wealthy parents, and he genuinely thinks that everybody needs that experience. I'm sorry, dude, but if a normal person blows all their money, they don't just have daddy giving them more at the end of the month. If you blow your money, your life is messed up, potentially forever. It's not just a, oop, I've learned from this situation. It is, oh God, my life has actually changed course because I blew all this money. And that is what you don't understand. Blowing thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in your teenage years is just a fun learning experience for you. That is something that is literally unachievable for anyone else. I promise you, if a normal person wasted even a fraction of the money that you have wasted in your life, it's not just going to be a learning experience for them. Their life could change drastically and permanently. They could be in debt forever. They could be homeless. They could not have enough money to eat. They could literally die. It is not a learning experience that everyone needs to go through. You do not live the same as everyone else. You do not understand the world. You are in your little bubble, shielded by your dad's money. It is disgusting the way that you hide yourself from the rest of the world, the way that you spend your money when what you could actually do is spend that to help people. This guy, this billionaire's son that says, oh, I don't have enough money to tip my delivery drivers, but also I like helping people and being able to see that on their face. I like being able to help someone one-on-one. Do you know what you could do if you're blowing $30,000 a month on Amex? You could pay off someone's fucking student loans. You could pay off someone's fucking mortgage. You could actually help towards that and help individual people make a difference that way. If you don't want to give to charity, if you don't want to start your own charity, if you don't want to even tip someone, just help people. Don't just spend your money on making fucking self-aggrandizing YouTube videos because it's not helping anyone. Spend that money better. Stop being such a goddamn selfish person and trying to convince yourself that what you're doing is okay, because it isn't okay. Jesus Christ, the stereotypes about rich kids is so fucking true based on this video. Like, seriously, these guys fit the mold perfectly. It is so disheartening to see people that are so far removed from the actual problems of the world and convince themselves that everything they're doing is fine. Like, they're walking away from this feeling good about themselves. They're walking away from this being like, yeah, this is pretty sick. Let's make some videos together. They are bad people. You should know that you are bad people. Jesus fucking Christ. Get a goddamn grip. If you want to live that life, fine. Just don't try and convince yourself that you are a good person for it, because you are not. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. As I said at the top, please leave a comment and like this video and subscribe. Answer the question, what would you do if you were given £10,000? I want to know. Also, you see these names going past? These are my patrons. You can join my Patreon over at patreon.com/notcorry. There are a whole bunch of perks, including a bonus video every single month. That'll be up to 2 bonus videos a month if I get 50 patrons, which we are over halfway towards. So go ahead and do that. You could check out my merch. You could check out my Instagram, my Twitter, all my other social medias. All the links are down there. You could check out my PayPal at paypal.me/notcorry if you only want to do a one-time donation. I think that is everything that I need to mention. Thank you very much much. No, it's not everything I need to mention. I need to thank some of my patrons because that's another Patreon perk for some of the patrons. I want to thank Danito, Ataraxia25, and Maxwell17. Okay, I think I'm done now. Goodbye.